Wow, what a performance from David Benavidez. He beats Gilberto Ramirez by 6th round KO to become the WBA and WBO cruiserweight champion. He's made history, becoming the first man to win a super middleweight title, a light heavyweight title, and a cruiserweight title. 3 divisions that no one's ever mastered before in that succession. So congratulations to him. What a fight, or what a performance from his side. Big respect to Gilberto Ramirez. He showed a lot of heart. He got knocked down in the 4th round, and again knocked down in the 6th round after like a real masterclass of a performance in that round from Benavidez. Puts together an 8-punch combination showing blistering hand speed. I don't see many guys, if any at all, at that weight throwing hands that quick. Wow. But yeah, the question I have is, David Benavidez, does he start knocking on the door of the pound for pound greats? Is he going to become a pound for pound great? He's just obviously clocked this record now, being a 3-division world champion. He was a very young, early super middleweight champion. He only recently won the WBA light heavyweight championship in his 2 fights ago against David Morrell, which was a great fight as well, and he also showed his class there. His last 5 fights have been against really good opposition. So Alexander Gvozdyk was quite old, but also a great champion. He beat Caleb Plant convincingly, who also is a great fighter, world level. He beat Anthony Yard, of course, probably the weaker of the lot, but still a great fighter. And then he's now just beaten Gilberto Ramirez in devastating fashion. And he's called out Canelo Alvarez, which I think would be a great fight, but seemingly probably missed the boat on that one. So he's got every right to be irritated. He's got every right to call him out, because a lot of people will say Canelo ducked him. He'd say that. He'd be the first person to say that. He also showed a lot of respect to Dimitri Bivol, but has called him out as well. That would be a great fight. I think that fight's a lot more realistic to make, considering Bivol fights in a few weeks' time. His opponent, his name escapes me, but he's that kind of fringe contender, and he should get past that pretty easily. It's in his homeland of Russia, and then we can start really thinking about if that fight's going to be put together. But then what? If he beats Bivol, I would say, no, we're talking pound for pound great. If he beats Canelo, just for the esteem and the acclaim of beating boxing's golden boy, that would make him a pound for pound great, or putting him in the pound for pound conversation at this point. A lot of people might say he's already there. It's a strong argument to make. Definitely me making a lot of people's top 10s, top 5, I don't know. But I think the future is bright for Benavidez, especially if he puts on performances like he did last night. Now let's just talk quickly about Gilberto Ramirez. He is, he's a 2-division world champion, and he's a good fighter. They have a lot of respect for each other. They've sparred many rounds together, so Benavidez would never have taken him lightly. I think I've seen some sparring footage where there's some really good back and forth, but that's sparring. It's not a fight, and styles make fights. And last night David Benavidez had all the answers and all the pressure and power and speed that Ramirez did not have. If I look at Ramirez's record against Benavidez, you have to argue that Benavidez has a much higher caliber of opposition. He's won his titles against better opposition, and he's fought better guys. If you look back to the early days, pre-COVID, Gilberto Ramirez won his super middleweight title against an aged Arthur Abram. He fought twice against Jesse Hart, who was a good fighter. Jesse Hart arguably gave him a really tough fight and could have gotten a lot more out of that fight in their first encounter. The second fight was obviously a lot more convincing. He fought Tommy Carpensi, who he was not great. He won his cruiserweight title, his WBA title against Arslan Gulamarian, who, you know, is a good fighter, world level, but not a superstar by any means. And I'd say his best performance, and probably his most recent performance that really made everyone sit up and go, this guy's quality, is his dismantling of Chris Smith to unify the division at cruiserweight and win the WBO title. And now Chris Smith's a very good fighter, and you know, but again, not a world renowned superstar. I mean, a lot of people don't even know who he is. He wasn't a world champion for very long. I mean, he's still got a lot left in him, but he's signed with Zuffa, which leads me on to the next point. You know, a lot will be made of who Benavidez fights next. And I've mentioned Canelo. I just don't think Canelo wants that fight, but I could be mistaken, and that would be amazing if that gets announced and everyone goes, okay, Canelo fights Benavidez next. That would secure his legacy. That would be a massive money fight. That would be super entertaining. But then I'd have to give it to Benavidez. He's the biggest guy. He's the bigger guy. He's faster. He's stronger, and arguably he's a better boxer. He's got great defense as well, which a lot of people don't really recognize. Then you've got to think about Bivol. You know, does he beat Bivol? That's a question for the comment section, everyone. Let me know. But yeah, I think the other thing is just, you know, he never mentioned anyone at cruiserweight, which I'll leave that as a note to of you know, topic. He never mentioned Jaya Pattaya, who's like the danger man at cruiserweight. He's just gotten 50% of the cruiserweight silverware, and he doesn't mention the main man at cruiserweight. Is it because of Zuffa? Because what's the point if he's not going to get paid? Or does Jaya Pattaya just stand third in the line compared to the other two aforementioned fighters? You know, Zuffa has two other big cruiserweights in Riziki and Chris Smith, but there's other champions. There's, you know, Noel Gavor Mikhailian, who holds the WBC title, but again, he's a quiet champion. No one really knows about him. No one ever speaks about him. So, well, I mean, what's the point in calling him out? You know, you could do what Jaya Pattaya was trying to do and unify everything, but the IBF title is vacant. So does he fight the number 1 and number 2 seeded people in the IBF's ranking? No, he goes for the big money fights. He goes for the legacy fights. He probably keeps the cruiserweight titles warm for a bit, but yeah, I'd say the next fight is definitely Dimitri Bivol. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'd love to get your thoughts and opinions. Please like and subscribe for more content. Have a great Sunday further, and if you're in the UK, have a great bank holiday, because tomorrow is the day off, so catch up on the fights if you didn't watch them. Alright, all the best everyone, much love.